Hello, fans. I'm the PC Expert Amateur, and this is going to be episode 9. That's finger maths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this would be 10. Anyways, this is 9 of the airflow and pressure differential comparisons. I've got 5 more fans to share with you today that have already been previewed. This is the Zhengye Prism 7 Pro, which looks like that. And then I'm dropping things, which is always, unexpected. So if you're a big fan of fans, then you've probably watched all almost 500 of my fan reviews, and there are more coming. I've got a few more that I have to do a review. I've got about, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or so that have come in mostly recently. One or two of them I just kind of forgot about, unfortunately. And this is the Ouyuan Su ARGB false ring transparent. Yeah, that's the second one. The boxes when you order off of Table are just pre-playing for the most part. And then there is the Asia Horse Cosmic Unifan, this is the regular one. There's another one that I reviewed that is the reverse, so the results should be very similar. This is the Cougar Vortex VX120 and the Thermalright TL-RS12. I'm holding off on doing the 140s right now because I've already got the 120 started, and I think it's the 80s started. If I get too many different series started, I'm going to get muddled, and I don't want to do that. So, as always, please remember this is the anemometer that I use to check the air pressure. I can't get it to the exact precise calibration that I need it for. So the numbers, as the numbers get larger, they get more inaccurate. However, for purposes of ranking them in terms of which ones have the best to the worst, it's fine. I hope that someday I'll have enough patrons on Patreon that I'll be able to afford to buy a really nice one that will allow me to get accurate readings. This is accurate at low airflow, but not at high airflow again. So I want you to just think about these 5. Again, the Air Horse Cosmic Unifan, the Ouyuan, which is actually the SGQ 12025, the Zhengye Prism 7 Pro, the Cougar Vortex VX120, and the Thermalright TL-RS12. Which one do you think is going to have the best airflow, and which one's going to have the highest RPM, and which one's going to have the best pressure differential? Please put those in the comments, and please remember, pressure differential is not the same as static pressure. Pressure differential shows how much difference in pressure there is from no movement all the way up to whatever the maximum happens to be. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the results that I acquired. Okay, again, so these are the 5 that I have looked at already for today. And you can see that as far as the expected RPMs, it was pretty consistent with the exception of the Ouyuan, which greatly exceeded what was expected of 800 to 1200, where it was 800 and plus to 1940. So I don't know if why they underrated it, or if this happens to be a mistake of some kind. But we can see that the strongest one in terms of RPMs is the Asia Horse Cosmic. Now, RPMs are usually more associated with, well, in some people's minds, static pressure, and other people's minds, airflow. It's a lot more complicated than that. There are a lot of factors. There's the shape of the attack of the blades. There's the size of the hub. There's the bearings. There's the speed at which it turns, which is RPMs, and a bunch of other stuff that all influence, including the design of the frame and the design of the arms that connect the hub to the frame. So there's no simple way of saying, oh yeah, that's 2200 RPMs at maximum. Obviously, the Cosmic is going to be the best one. It doesn't work that way. There is a relationship, yes, but it doesn't work that way. So let's move on to the airflow. And here we can see that for airflow, it's not a, it's basically broken up into three groups. Cougar and Zhengye at the lower end. It's not horrible. It's just low end. And I forgot to put in the numbers for you, so hold on. Okay, there we go. Now, when I get to the one with all of the fans listed, please note that the Shenzhen Asia Horse Industrial Cosmic, the other one, the Cosmic-RE, is also already listed from a previous episode, and that one, the brand name is in blue. So you can see the difference between the regular Cosmic, which is blowing in the typical direction through the arms of the hub, and you can see the RE, which is blowing in the opposite direction. And see how what the similarities and differences are, because there are some. But we can see right here that the Cougar and the Zhengye are pretty much the same. That 5.4 difference is not really significant. The Ouyuansu is in the middle with 169.8, and then we get to the Asia Horse and the Thermal Right, and they're like, what is that? 8.4 CFMs, or sorry, CMHs different. So based on this, you get an idea of the airflow now, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the pressure differential. Okay, now the pressure differential. Oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. My apologies. It should be this one. There we go. Okay, so the pressure differential is not sorted correctly. I'm so sorry about that. And now we can see that at the low end, the Ouyuansu and the Zhengye have the worst pressure differential at 57 and 58. However, the difference between them and the Cougar is minimal at 60, and the Asia Horse is not that far ahead of the Cougar at 64, and the Thermal Right is not that far ahead of the Asia Horse at 68. So again, we can see that just because the Asia Horse had the best RPMs doesn't mean it has the best pressure differential. So now let's go ahead and look at the big picture. Now, again, don't forget to look around in the middle here. You'll see Shenzhen Asia Horse Industrial in blue, and that one is three above that one is the Cosmic RE, the reverse fan, and it's three above the Cosmic that we're looking at today. So we can see that as far as RPMs, the RE goes up to 2130 and the regular one goes up to 2200. So there's a little bit of a difference there. And we can see that the Asia Horse, in terms of RPMs, has the best. It's not the best in the list, obviously. I mean, I have one that at the bottom, the Key Fan Club, that goes up to 5263, but that one is in what I'll just see the bottom, the best half, and then the other four, well, the Cougar is barely making it, with it basically being almost neck and neck with the VK120 from Cougar. The Thermal Right and Zhengye are pretty much neck and neck, and then the Ouyuansu is very close to the middle, but still on the worst end or worst half of the fans. So from this perspective, it seems like the Asia Horse is the champ. But let's take a look at airflow. Now, things are a little bit different. We can see that the Cougar is still very low in airflow at 142.2, and even versus the other Cougar, the VK120, it's the worst, which is, you expect some differences, so that doesn't really surprise me. But then let's take a look at the Zhengye, which is 147.6, which is not that much higher than the Cougar, not really significant. And the Oyuansu at 169.8. Now that is a significant jump, putting it very close to the middle and uh, much better than the Zhengye, which is so it's like what 22.2 or something like that. CMH is better. Then the Cosmic is at 181.2, but wait a second, the Cosmic Reverse is 123. It's the fifth worst one for airflow. So if you're looking for an airflow fan, the reverse of this fan is a bad choice in comparison. And honestly, I'm not impressed. I mean, you would think that Asia Horse would make sure that the regular one and the reverse one would behave similarly. Now, I'll admit, I don't understand what the RE, I mean, R means reverse. I don't know if E is just part of reverse or if it's something else. But 181.2 versus 123, that's huge. And the thermal right is a little bit better than the Asia Horse at 189.6, like we saw before, making only the Cosmic and the TL-RS12 in the top half of the list as far as maximum airflow. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the pressure differential. And here we see that the worst one is in the middle, the Oyuansu with 157. So it's, surprisingly, it's consistently in the middle every time. Sorry about that. And then the Zhengye is 100 is only 1 degree better at 58. Remember, when I measure pressure differential, I'm measuring how many degrees of movement that the flap has as it's being pushed by the air. So one better than that is the Cougar, the X120, and that one is actually significantly better than the other Cougar, which is at 45. And then, so we got 4 of the 5 in the top half this time. Not that we should be like, ooh, wow, 58 and 60, those are amazing. We're looking for like 70s and 80s here. So the Asia Horse is a 64. It's respectable, but it's not amazing. And then the Thermal Right, 68. So, it's getting close. It's approaching the really high powered ones at the bottom of the list there. So now let's take a look at the final chart giving us the breakdown so you can compare the different specifications. And here we go. So we can see the Oyuansu is in the middle still. And it's the same order as pressure differential because I sorted this by pressure differential. And we can see some interesting differences as far as RPMs, which number the RPMs are related to and which they're not related to. So we can say, let's see, the Thermal Right doesn't even have really high RPMs, and yet it's the best one on the list for pressure, and it's pretty good otherwise. But yeah, I think this shows us that sometimes you can look at a fan and say, oh, that's the RPMs. Well, it's going to be the best one. And sometimes you just can't. You just don't know because there are other factors to consider, as I said before. So that's it for me today. I just wanted to remind you that for my pressure differential testing, I use this little graph with the rays for the, oops, no, that way, for the degrees. Let's see if I can. And then this is the flap that I mentioned. So I hold it like this against the fan, and the fan starts to blow it, and wherever it's pointing pretty much, that determines the pressure differential. I would love to get the one that Major Hardware made for his fan showdown videos because that one's made out of plastic. Makes it heavier, the results would be different. I'd have to redo every fan that I've done so far, but that would give this is not perfect. I mean, it's a little bit bent, and The hinge tends to have a little bit of a problem, but it's consistent from one to the next. So just want to be transparent with you that these are not perfect results. Um, Hopefully someday I can give better results, either because I get lots of money, or I get lots of patrons who send me money. Right now, I've only got one guy, Rudik, over in Australia. Thank you, Rudik. I really appreciate the support you've been giving me. Now it's been close. It's been getting, what is it, like 3/4 of a year now. Thank you so much. And that's it for me. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, please put them below. And have a great day.
I need to ask for your help. Things have been challenging. Whose life hasn't been challenging lately? So if you can please help me out by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, and turning on notifications, that would be really, really super. Also, if you'd like to help me financially and you can't afford to, you can do a super thanks on my Glenn's Fast Reviews channel, or you can become a member there. Or if you prefer, you can go to patreon.com/GLENNMII and become a member there instead. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Bleeping Computer for their support of my channel. If you need resources for computers, for getting rid of malware and learning about cybersecurity and stuff, Bleeping Computer, BLEEPING computer.com is a great resource. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.